Jungkook had always believed in love. For him, love wasn't something to be taken lightly or played with. When he and I started dating, it felt like a dream come true. Taehyung, the man who made his heart race with every smile, every brush of fingers, and every whispered word, had chosen him. They'd been together for 5 months, and Jungkook felt like he was living in a bubble of bliss. But all of that came crashing down one afternoon when Jungkook overheard a conversation he wasn't supposed to hear. It happened at Tae's apartment. Jungkook stood outside Tae's apartment, a bag of takeout in his hand and a soft smile on his lips. It had been a long day, and all he wanted was to surprise his boyfriend, share dinner, and spend a quiet evening together. He used the spare key Tae had given him to unlock the door, quietly stepping inside. The apartment was dark and silent, just as he had expected. He must still be out with his friends, Jungkook thought, setting the bag on the kitchen counter. He shrugged off his coat, hanging it on the rack, and decided to wait for Tae to come back. As he moved toward the living room, he noticed faint sounds coming from down the hallway. His brows furrowed in confusion. The voices were muffled, but they were unmistakably coming from Tae's room. Is he home already? Jungkook thought, his heart fluttering at the idea of seeing Tae sooner than expected. Quietly, he approached the room, the slightly ajar door allowing the voices to filter through. 6 months, huh? How's the bet going? You still going to break up with him once it's over? One of Tae's friends, Jin, teased. Jungkook froze in his tracks, his smile fading instantly. A cold sense of dread washed over him. Yeah, man. We've got about 1 month left. I'll call it quits then. It was just a bet, after all. Tae's voice responded, casual, nonchalant. The words hit Jungkook like a dagger to the chest. He stared at the slightly open door, his body trembling as the reality of what he just heard began to sink in. Did he hear that correctly? A bet. Their relationship was a bet. He clenched his fists, trying to suppress the overwhelming urge to scream. The voices of Tae and his friends carried on as if they hadn't just shattered his world, their laughter slicing through the air like, "Are you serious?" Jungkook doesn't seem like the type to take something like this lightly. What if he finds out? Another voice, likely Namjoon, spoke up, sounding concerned. He won't. And besides, he's fun to be around. But it's not like I'm in love with him or anything. Tae's voice sounded so casual. Jungkook's vision blurred as hot tears pooled in his eyes. The words echoed in his mind. Not in love with him. He had been nothing more than a game, a 6-month game, where at the end of it, Tae would toss him aside like some forgotten prize. Jungkook felt the walls closing in around him. His breath hitched as tears falling down non-stop from his big eyes. Every word Tae spoke felt like another nail in the coffin of their relationship. A bet. Just a bet. He backed away slowly, his hands shaking. His mind screamed at him to storm in and demand answers, but his legs refused to move toward the door. Instead, they carried him away, his feet stumbling as he made his way back to the front door. His hands trembled as he grabbed his coat and slipped on his shoes. He fumbled with the door, desperate to leave before anyone noticed him. As he finally opened it, he froze, glancing back toward the hallway. For a moment, he hesitated. A small, broken part of him hoped this was some kind of misunderstanding. That I would step out, see him, and explain it all away. But no one came. Jungkook stepped outside, closing the door softly behind him. The cold night air stung his face as tears streamed down his cheeks. His heart felt like it had been ripped apart, every beat echoing with the words he had overheard. He walked away, the sound of Tae's laughter still ringing in his ears, haunting him with every step he took. But still a part of him isn't ready to believe it. He needed to hear it from Tae's own lips. Not just in passing conversation with friends. He needed Tae to say it to his face, to confess that their love had been a lie. He will wait to hear the truth from Tae's mouth. For the next month, Jungkook lived in agony. He continued to act normal, pretending everything was fine. Every time Tae kissed him, every time he held him close, Jungkook's heart ached with the knowledge that this was temporary. The man he loved didn't love him back. And every smile, every soft word, felt like a mockery of the feelings Jungkook still had for him. At night, when Tae would fall asleep beside him, Jungkook would lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how he had missed the signs. Wondering why Tae had even agreed to date him in the first place. Did he really mean nothing to him? Had every kiss, every late-night conversation, and every shared moment been a performance for the sake of a bet? But still, Jungkook waited. Days turned into weeks, and soon, it was the 6-month anniversary of their relationship. Tae was uncharacteristically quiet that day, and Jungkook's stomach churned with anxiety. He knew what was coming. He knew today would be the day Tae ended it, and yet, he wasn't prepared for it. That evening, after a simple dinner together, Tae seemed distant. His usual playful smile was missing, and Jungkook could see the way his fingers fidgeted nervously. "Jungkook," Tae finally said, his voice soft but heavy with something Jungkook couldn't yet place. They were sitting on the couch, the lights dim, and the air between them felt suffocating. Jungkook's heart raced as he turned to face him, his throat tight. "Yeah." Tae swallowed hard, his eyes darting around the room, as if he couldn't meet Jungkook's gaze. "There's something I need to tell you." Jungkook's heart felt like it was lodged in his throat. This was it. The moment he had been dreading for the past month. "What is it?" Jungkook asked, his voice barely above a whisper. He was trying so hard to stay composed, but inside, he was already falling apart. Tae let out a shaky breath. I'm sorry, Jungkook. This relationship, I didn't start it because I wanted to. It was a bet." There it was. The truth. The words he had been waiting for, and yet, hearing them from Tae's mouth hurt more than he could have ever imagined. Jungkook felt like he couldn't breathe. He stared at Tae, his eyes wide, his lips trembling. "A bet." Tae nodded, his hands trembling slightly. "It was stupid, okay. My friends, Jin and the others, they dared me to date someone for 6 months. And I picked you. As that time you proposed to me. I'm sorry about that. I know my sorry isn't enough." Jungkook's world crumbled. His chest tightened painfully as the tears he had been holding back for weeks finally spilled over. So, everything we've done, everything we've shared, it was all just part of a game to you. Tae looked down, guilt etched across his face. At first, yeah. But then, I started to care about you, Jungkook. I really did. Started to care. Jungkook's voice cracked. He stood up, taking a few steps back, away from Tae, as if the distance could somehow protect him from the overwhelming pain he was feeling. You were never in love with me, were you? You never felt the way I felt. Tae's silence was answer enough. Jungkook let out a broken laugh, shaking his head. I waited, you know. I waited for you to tell me the truth because I thought maybe I meant something to you. But I was just a bet. Tae stood up, reaching out for him. Jungkook, please, listen. I have things to tell you. No, don't touch me. Don't lie to me anymore. Jungkook stepped back, his tears flowing freely now. The room was filled with a painful silence, broken only by Jungkook's sobs. Tae stood there, frozen, guilt and regret heavy in his eyes. He had hurt the person who meant the most to him, and now, he didn't know how to fix it. I loved you, Tae. I loved you with everything I had. And you were just playing a game. I was nothing but just a bet to you. Jungkook whispered, his voice shaking. Tae's heart shattered at the sight of Jungkook's tears, the sound of his broken voice. He had made a horrible mistake, and now, he was losing the one person who had made him feel something real, something genuine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please listen to me once. Tae whispered, his voice barely audible. But it was too late. Jungkook turned away, wiping his tears as he walked towards the door, saying for the last time, to be continued. Since the storyline is little lengthy, remaining part will be uploaded tomorrow. Till then, keep supporting Puffballs. And one more thing, it's a requested one-shot FF, so I wrote the storyline based on the requested theme. Hope my Puffballs understand that. And don't hate Tae or Tae's character. Whoever will give hate comments to Tae personally or intentionally will be blocked. Since I don't like wasting my time arguing with brainless soul. So thanks for watching, Puffballs. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and share. Also subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates.